Ah, the Yorkshire pudding. You know what I'm talking about. That glorious, puffed up, golden brown crown of the Sunday roast. It's a British icon, for sure, but it can seem a little intimidating, right? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain. You're about to find out that mastering this classic isn't just possible, it's actually surprisingly simple once you know the secrets. So, let's get into it.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll dive into what a Yorkshire pudding really is. Then, we'll get into the science of that perfect rise. This is the good stuff. After that, we'll get creative and go way beyond the Sunday roast. We'll even build a safety net for any problems you might run into. And finally, it's going to be your turn to create something amazing.
All right, let's start at the beginning. Before we can make the perfect one, we've got to understand it. What exactly is the savory, puffy marvel? And, where did it even come from?
What I love about this is just how humble its origins are. Long before it was this beloved side dish, it was just a really clever, practical invention. I mean, the first recorded recipe, way back in a 1747 cookbook, called it dripping pudding. And that's because the batter was literally placed under roasting meat to catch all those delicious, savory fats. Smart, right? Nothing went to waste. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, hold on, isn't this just like an American popover? And hey, you're close. They're definitely cousins, made from a very similar egg-based batter. But the real differences are in the details. A true Yorkshire pudding gets that deep, savory flavor from sizzling hot beef dripping, while popovers tend to use butter. And while popovers are usually these cute little individual things, Yorkshires can be made in any size, even one giant one for the whole family. Okay, this right here is the heart of our masterclass. Forget about luck, forget about guesswork. Getting that perfect, dramatic rise is all about science, and we're about to break it down into a formula that is absolutely foolproof. This is it. This is the question that's haunted home cooks for generations, isn't it? We've all had those sad, flat, pancake-like disasters. Well, no more. The answer lies in just a few simple, but totally crucial steps. So here's where the magic happens. The single most important thing is the dramatic temperature contrast. You have your cold, rested batter, and you're pouring it into a screaming hot, fat-filled tin. That thermal shock is what literally forces the batter to explode upwards, creating that light, airy structure we all want. It's a simple process, but you can't skip a single step. And listen, when we say hot, we mean it. Your oven needs to be consistently holding this temperature. This is not the time for a gentle bake. We're talking a short, sharp, fiery blast. An oven thermometer can be your best friend here, just to make sure you're actually at the right temperature before that tin even thinks about going in. Okay, so why is resting the batter so important? This 30-minute chill time in the fridge, it is not optional. It lets the gluten in the flour relax, which makes it more stretchy. At the same time, the starch molecules swell up with liquid. And what's the result? A lighter, crispier pudding that rises way more evenly. And this is just the perfect way to picture it. You don't want a thick, heavy pancake batter, but you also don't want it to be thin and watery. This little piece of advice from the legendary Mary Berry is the perfect mental image. It should be easy to pour, but still have some body to it. Let's just lock this in, okay? These are the 4 commandments of Yorkshire puddings. Now, it might seem weird that self-rising flour makes them flatter, but it's true. The baking powder in it creates all these little uniform bubbles, which actually stops that one big dramatic puff we're looking for. So always stick to plain flour. Make sure the fat is literally smoking, the batter has to be cold, and whatever you do, resist the urge to peak. Opening that door lets all the hot air out and, poof, they'll collapse. Okay, so you've totally mastered the science. Now, let's head to the playground. That same simple batter is basically a blank canvas for some truly incredible and really creative meals. We're all trained to think of it as a side dish, right? But what if the Yorkshire pudding was the main event, the absolute star of the show? I mean, just look at these ideas. You've got the classic toad in the hole with sausages baked right into the batter. Or imagine a genius breakfast version with that crispy pudding holding perfectly cooked eggs and bacon. Or how about this? A giant Yorkshire pudding wrap that holds your entire roast dinner. You can even use it as an edible bowl for a rich stew or as a clever, easy crust for a quiche. The possibilities are seriously endless. All right, now let's shrink it down. If you use a mini muffin tin, that same exact batter transforms into these perfect, bite-sized little cups for party food. This is where you can really start playing with flavors. Picture these tiny, crisp cups filled with tender roast beef and a sharp kick of horseradish, or a vegetarian one with creamy, melted brie and earthy mushrooms.
You could even infuse the batter itself before you bake with sharp cheddar and chives, or a hint of thyme and mustard to build flavor right from the start.
And now for what might be the most surprising transformation of all. What happens if we take this savory classic and we make it sweet? This just goes to show how insanely versatile that simple batter is. Because it's so neutral, it works beautifully for desserts. You can treat them just like profiteroles, filled with cream and covered in chocolate sauce, or stuff them with a warm apple crumble. You could even bake sliced pears right inside and then drizzle it all with salted caramel. It's a completely unexpected and totally delicious twist.
Of course, sometimes things, well, they go wrong. But don't you worry. This section is your safety net. We're going to tackle the most common failures head-on so you can walk into that kitchen with total confidence.
We've all been there. You see them rising magnificently in the oven, you're so proud, and then you pull out something that looks like a sad, greasy disc. It's the number one fear, but the reasons why it happens are usually really simple to fix. Do these look familiar? Yeah, it almost always comes back to those unbreakable rules we talked about. Either the heat wasn't high enough, someone opened the door, or they were pulled out before the batter had a chance to cook through and set its structure. You really have to wait until they are deep, golden brown before you even think about taking them out. There you have it. You know the history, you understand the science, and you've seen the incredible creative potential. That once intimidating Yorkshire pudding has been completely demystified. The only question left is, what masterpiece are you going to create first?